It was a brick by brick and a stone by stone. It wasn't done alone. Spirit is the
Welcome.
You are listening to Menstruction. Greetings and salutations, my beautiful souls and spirits. Welcome back. There's some things popping off in real time, so I want to get right into it. You know who it is. The man who was always a stand-up guy because he refuses to sit down. The man who can never accept the color purple because he's red and blue colorblind. Your hostess with the mostest, and we're not talking Twinkies, Black Velvet. There's some things popping off right now in Tennessee. There's been a lot of political unrest there, but the reason that I want to cover this one is because there are some stand-up individuals, some young black men who have recently been elected to Tennessee House of Representatives, who I think are doing a great job at representing themselves as an example of what we as young men can strive to be. And why our voices are so important for ourselves moving forward. So we're going to get right into this thing. Let's go. Gotta get that display going. Woo, woo. Oh, man. I can see everything, man. This live streaming stuff, man. This stuff is different, man. This stuff is different, man.
Treatment of other members that are not currently.
And I'm gonna try. I want to tap in with the chat too, just to see what people watching are feeling.
Saying
as
these
well
things,
as
such as
local
I
Tennesseans
didn't get recognized in committees. Saying things like I only certain people could pass bills.
So in case you all don't know what's going on, so there were 3 representatives. This is the last one that's being voted on, Representative Justin Pearson. There was another representative whose name was also Justin. I think his name was Justin Jones. And there was another representative. It was a woman. I'll give you her name in a second when I get the details, but they are basically in the process of fighting for their lives to retain their abilities to be representatives due to breaking decorum within the House of Representatives in Tennessee because they wanted to bring forth some conversation about gun laws and gun safety in the state. Obviously, if you're not aware, there's been a lot of shootings, school shootings that have occurred as of late. So they wanted to get some action on it, and I think there's also a protest that's happening outside of the House of Representatives there too. So the other Justin, they got his ass out of there. They already voted him out, and the female representative, she is safe. So to speak. So
for you and for every member in
now
this
Justin
body,
is Representative Pearson is in the process of stating his case.
The diversity of the state of Tennessee is changing in magnificent ways. That the voices and the people who are protesting aren't just black folk and ain't just white folk, ain't just rich folk or poor folk. It is a multiracial coalition built on a solidarity dividend that can break any institution that refuses to change. And so
that's right. The other representative
we need not
is
cling to hurt.
Gloria Johnson.
I suggest that this institution choose to change. Change the way that it is operating in order for justice to be possible here. For everybody's voice to be treated equitably here. I will say this. Lois DeBerry, Speaker Pro Tem, why was she never the Speaker of this House? She deserved to be Speaker of this House. And the reality is, the reason that she was saying things about decorum and things like that was because she understood that the institution that she was a part of, the institution as the second black woman, I believe, to ever be elected in the Tennessee state legislature, the way she had to present herself, the things she had to do and say, and the way she had to look was so important because black folk wouldn't get respected otherwise.
And see, this is why I had to jump on this real quick, because he has been up here stating his case for, I believe, the last hour or so, and he's so well spoken and articulate with his points, but he also comes with his facts to defend himself. But it's also interesting to see how he's fending off some of the other Congress people here that are trying to make a case against him.
This House,
I just want it to be seen as well and acknowledged. Just look at the representation of their representatives here in the state of Tennessee, right? And you can see a little bit as they pan around some of the diversity within their House of Representatives, right? I've seen now several black representatives, both male and female, stand up on either side that have been defending the representatives and that have been going against them. And I just think it's very interesting, something to pay attention to, that the representation that they have is very different than that of on the federal level, right? Of the House of the United States. It's different. It's different. So I think that's also something to pay attention to, not only just in racial demographics, but also in age demographics. Because again, well, the two black male representatives that are fighting for their lives are pretty young. I'm pretty sure they're both under the age of 30. I'm going to fact check that in a second. Then, of course, it was the older white woman, but it's just something to pay attention
to. And I just want to reiterate why we should be in mourning and why we are here. I don't want to forget Representative Freeman's district, the catalyst for this conversation, and unfortunately, instead of it being a catalyst today for the passing of those laws, it's about expelling myself and two other members of the House. We have in this state a proliferation of guns, and we have significant incidences of gun violence.
See if I can
That is the reality of what's happening in the state of Tennessee.
pull up some info.
That is a real issue that needs to be addressed, transformed to do something to solve it.
28.
We're silencing
So,
folks
under
who
the
said
age of
we've
30.
got to say something. The resolution isn't expulsion. The resolution is doing something to pass meaningful gun violence prevention. That's what we should be doing. That's what you should be doing. Saying, how do we prevent incidences like what's happening to folks like Larry, all the way to folks like at Covenant? How do we actually prevent this from happening by ensuring that this proliferation of gun violence ceases on our watch?
Let's see what we got here for him.
That's what folks are calling for, asking for, and demanding. And that's what I will continue to call for and ask for and demand, because we can do it.
Elected. Representative Pearson here was elected in January 24th.
Is there,
so
is
he's
every one of you.
He's only been serving for
It's up to you to decide
less than 3 months.
Red flag
They already trying to get him up out of here.
It's up to you to decide.
Simply because he was not following decorum, right? And I want that.
It's up to you to decide.
I want.
We're gonna stop folks.
I want you to consider what that means, what that sounds like too. No decorum, right? That saying that he and the other two representatives are being placed on the stake politically because they did not adhere to the political decorum of how things operate within the Tennessee House of Representatives. And
it always
not to turn into a race thing, but we have to acknowledge the truth.
In power must
The
do
three
something.
people, I mean, put on that are being placed on.
Something I thought, I believe.
I don't want to say placed on the stake, but they are being placed on the stake politically because their newly achieved political jobs are in the ballot right now.
Went to the polls.
Well, not in the ballot. The other representative, Justin, he's done. He has been voted
I had the
out.
opportunity to come to that place.
2 young black men, both under the age of 30, both recently elected.
Who I would always say they
I
have
don't
the power
find that to be coincidental. And this is
These
why I'm
folks,
trying
they're
to
the
cover
ones
this and bring this
folks
forward,
are always
because
mad that
look
they say
at
thoughts and prayers.
how professional, look
Because
at how
they've got
well
power that they
articulated,
will to
look
actually
at
be able to change
and
the
listen to
situation.
some of the things
But instead
and how he's
of
able
looking
to
into
present
these
himself
faces
and
saying
actually
a dogged
fight off
determination to
the
change
biased
what is
spin on
going
the issues that the other
I'm seeing a
representatives
dogged
are
determination
presenting.
to expel me and expel
these
the
are the
voice
kinds of things.
District
These
86
are
in
the
this
types
state house
of men.
because we know we need
These are the role models
have
that need
an
to be
end to
covered.
gun violence.
These are the people who need
'Cause
to
we're
get
tired of having
TikTok
kids
compilations
and adults and loved ones being killed by
regular
guns.
coverage, Instagram
So
coverage.
it's disappointing.
That people need to be standing
But
over
that
making
dogged
thirst
determination
trap
does live in
TikToks
certain
for your
And that
man's
gives me hope.
Representative Pearson. Shit. They might, hey, real talk though, they might have some for Representative the other Justin, Representative Jones. I'm gonna pull up a picture for y'all in a second so y'all can
Thank
see.
you,
'Cause
Mr. Speaker.
It's a handsome
Call for the
dude,
question.
bro.
Question
Like,
been called.
man's
There's objection. We're voting on previous question.
a handsome dude. I think they just got him
All
out of there
those in
because he
favor of
was
previous question,
clean
vote
with it.
aye when the bell rings. All those opposed vote no.
Oh, they vote on it. They vote on it.
Voted. Does any member wish to change their vote?
Here, I'm gonna put it on the full screen. Ah, not me.
Mr. Clerk, take the vote.
Ayes 73, 23 nays.
Previous question prevails. Let the journal reflect Representative Terry is excused. Representative Pearson, you have 5 minutes to close.
Okay, give me 1 second.
I like that. I like that.
Speaker, I just want to ask a point of privilege. Speaker,
Not
point
even,
of personal privilege. Is it possible that Senator Ack could join us up here?
not even
Or
disrespectfully,
state
but
house
I just like how he confidently, you know,
Thank you.
held his nuts right there and was just like, listen, give me just a second. You know, this is my career in the ballot, so give me a moment to prepare so I can speak.
All
properly.
glory and honor to God.
Why did they do him like that? Why did they change his
parents,
bumper?
Kimberly,
This
Owen
is
Pearson and Jason C. Pearson,
Justin Pearson.
and brings them to an institution built by enslaved
They
people.
just had it
saying
up
all
there.
glory and honor to God.
See how? Do you see how they do the black man in America? Do you see?
Marginalized and excluded into this place.
His
and
fro
tells
is
them that
tight,
You still have
mustache
a voice,
trimmed.
That you still
Let me stop talking.
are
Let me stop talking.
somebody,
Y'all-
and that the
let's listen.
movement for love and justice cannot be stopped because we've still got a heartbeat. Because we've still got a movement for love that needs us. We've still got people who are calling on us to act and to do something. To all you who still believe that the best days for democracy are ahead. For all of you who still believe that our better days in Tennessee are ahead, I want to tell you that I still believe with you. And how is it that even now amidst persecution, on this Holy Week, after my own brother Justin Jones, Representative Jones, gets expelled from the House, is it that we still have hope and faith and belief in the democracy of Tennessee? Faith and hope in the belief in the democracy of the United States of America? How is it that you still have hope, you descendant of enslaved people?
Why are they still
How is it that
disrespecting
you still have hope?
the representative? Can they change his
because
Chiron, his lower third?
Even from
They
the
had it
time of
right,
slave
and
ships,
then
my
they.
people didn't
I
quit.
don't know why they changed it last
Even in
minute.
cotton fields and rice fields, my
Hey,
people didn't quit.
Hey, they
Even
always
when
try
they
to
were
hold us down.
whipped and
Anyway,
chained, told they had no name.
they can try to
My
make us submit.
people didn't quit. Even when they incarcerated us, locked us up for a crack cocaine epidemic created by President Ronald Reagan to fund a war in South America, my people didn't quit. Even when they defunded our schools, separated us and called us colored and white, even when they put us on lynching trees in the state of Tennessee, specifically in Shelby County, my people didn't quit. Even now, as our own brothers and sisters lay to rest because of the failure of people in positions of power to do something. Because people are refusing to pass just laws to end the epidemic of gun violence in the state of Tennessee. My people have yet to quit. And so even now, amidst this vote, amidst this persecution, I remember the good news. Hallelujah, Jesus. I remember that on Friday, the government decided that my Savior Jesus, a man that was innocent of all crimes except fighting for the poor, fighting for the marginalized, fighting for the LGBTQ community, fighting for those who are single mothers, fighting for those who are ostracized, fighting for those pushed to the periphery. My Savior, my black Jesus, he was lynched.
Man, let me tell you something.
On Friday.
It's just like black people. Don't we always do that? When we come through out on the other side of a scathing situation, boy, if we don't give he of the highest the most praise, suddenly we are all Christian historians, boy.
They were witnesses as you have been witnesses to
You
what
know
has happened
that
in the
no matter what
state
part
of
of this
Tennessee, they were
conversation you come in, what part of this spiel you come in, you know something crazy was just overcome. You're a black person going in,
on Saturday,
talking about
all hope seemed to be lost. Representatives were thrown out of the state house. Democracy seemed to be at its end. Seemed like the NRA and gun lobbyists might win. But oh, that was good news for us. I don't know how long got hope, because I know we are still here and we will never quit.
hell yeah. Hell yeah. And he put the fist up. Look at that. You hear how hyped those people are in there? Is he saying out of order?
We're voting on House Resolution 63. All those in favor, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted?
Why does he seem like he's just so over it? He seems so exhausted, like, alright, let's vote on it. Golly.
House Resolution 63 is hereby adopted. Without objection, the motion reeks here is tabled. Pursuant to Article 2, Section 12 of the Constitution of the State of Tennessee, I hereby declare Representative Justin J. Pearson of the 86th Representative District expelled from the House of Representatives of the 103rd General Assembly of the State of Tennessee. Next order, Mr. Clark.
Announcements.
Announcements.
Wow.
Next order, Mr. Clark.
Wow, okay.
Roll call.
Wow. So there it is. There it is. In real time, that representative Justin Pearson, along with his brother, not by blood, his soul brother, Representative Justin Jones, they have both been expelled from the Tennessee House of Representatives.
Take the roll, Mr. Clark.
Upon not following decorum and sticking to the rules of
Mr. Speaker, 89 members present.
The Tennessee House
Leader
of Representatives.
Cochran, you're recognized.
Now
Leader
this
Leader
is something to
you're
watch out
recognized.
for. And I want to see what the coverage is like of this in the next couple of days, because this is going to cause, I hope,
Thank you, Mr.
some,
Speaker. I move the House stand in recess
national
until
discord
5 p.m. on Monday,
because
April 10th,
the
2023.
two black male representatives are the ones that were expelled, and the
Without
one
objection, the House
female
stands in
white
recess till 5
representative.
p.m. on Monday, April 10th, 2023.
And that's it. That's it. They just ended the assembly. It's closed. It's over. That's it. That's it. That's really it. Wow. This is so important to cover and to see, because these are the kinds of things that I try to highlight on the platform. And if you haven't listened, please make sure you go check out the Menstruction podcast. It is on all major podcast streaming platforms. Episode 6, I covered, the importance of making sure we're fighting for just causes and using our voices and our time accordingly when we can have influence in these spaces for real issues. Okay. I spoke about this for this very reason. And at that time, when I made that, when I dropped that episode, that was Black History Month of last year. And it was so important because, as we all see, it's very easy to commoditize, black voices and black thought, right? And also the black struggle. It's a thing that has been happening, and a lot of people, both black and non-black, have allowed it to happen, thinking in some instances that you are actually truly helping bring your agenda forward, or that you're making some kind of true change. And what's really happening is all you're doing is either giving yourself some Sambo-ish energy, right? You're placing yourself on the forefront of a movement, but really you're being viewed as entertainment fodder, and you're being viewed as a clown and a puppet for everyone to watch and laugh at temporarily. Or you find yourself in a position where now you have disingenuous thoughts and ideas that you're dispersing to make your own financial gains out of it. You see all these corporations and companies come out and suddenly they're crusaders for the black cause and the black struggle. We understand. We're here to support and stand steadfast with the black community this month. They don't genuinely care about these issues, because what actually comes of it, right? And what I had hearkened to in the episode was track out what happens. See what happens after February 28th. When March 1st comes around and we move into the rest of the year, move into the season changes, how much of that conversation continues? How many changes do you see? How many of those people and those voices do you still hear? And it's very little, if any at all. This is why these kinds of things, these kinds of voices have to be highlighted, because this is where the real influence and the real changes actually occur. These individuals who were representatives for their local government, for the citizens of Tennessee, of which there has been a lot of gun crime. There's been a lot of increasing political unrest, because it seems like that it's been a hotbed of gun violence in Tennessee in the last couple of months. It's been happening nonstop. I'm pretty certain that gosh, I forget his name right now. I'll see if I can pull it up in a second. But the individual who was beat within inches of his life and did lose his life by the I think it was the 5 cops. That was in Tennessee. That was I want to say that was in Memphis, right? So that happened there. And these kinds of things keep happening. There are these major shootings, and you have to understand the demographics of a place like Tennessee, especially if we're talking about, the more notable cities, your Nashvilles, right? Your Memphises, Knoxville. Those are heavily black populated areas. So the people who care the most and probably who are affected disproportionately by the things that are going on are people that look like us. And so that's why something like this happening, where the very individuals who are affected by it, who have a direct line and a direct connection to the people who are affected by it, are now in positions, or were recently elected into positions where they could affect change. Look at what happens. Right? Realistically, we just watched it in real time. Look at what happens to those individuals, and look at the grounds of which they are expelled, quite literally, from the positions that allow us to make those changes. Look at how they're expelled from the conversation. Look at how they're expelled from the overall issue. Look at how their opinions, look at how their Look at there, look at how our actions, our attempts to actually make a change, to do it professionally, responsibly, and play by the rules. Look at how that gets us dispelled from the conversation. Look at how that gets us dispelled from the actual course of change. And look at the grounds of which it's done. It's not on any major things. We see representatives damn near every day. The former president of the United States just got arraigned on criminal charges. But you have these three individuals, the two of which who were expelled from their positions, both being young, aspirational, intellectual black males, dispelled from the conversation, dispelled from their positions, dispelled from the opportunity to put their voice in the conversation the right way, to create actual legislative changes, and they were dispelled on rules of decorum? This is what I'm talking about. This is why the platform is so important. This is what the essence of Menstruction is about, because it's individuals like that. And I think they both knew that this was probably the end of their time when things ramped up and got as hot as they did. But they also knew it was for the greater good. It was for a better cause. They were willing to make that sacrifice. They did it sacrificially. They knew that. They knew that they would be presented as examples, that they could be viewed as the right kind of martyr. And it needs to be covered. I'll be tracking it. We're going to be tracking this over the next couple of weeks, or however long, next couple of days, to see what kind of coverage this gets. Because I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of those things that gets that initial hit and then it gets swept under the rug and we don't hear anything else about it. I would not be surprised, and that's not acceptable. Not only because of the obviously inherent biases behind how these decisions were made and why they were chosen to be removed. Now, I didn't get to see the full argument in defense of the other Representative Justin and of Representative Johnson, I think her name was. So I don't know, maybe if they presented different cases, maybe they had different political capital. I'm not entirely sure. And I'll be looking into that as well. But what I can say is there is no way that there is a coincidence that the female white representative that was being placed in the same, that was being placed under the same scrutiny for the exact same issue was saved. Her job was spared. Her position retained. The two black male representatives that she was with, they all were side by side when they did what they did. There is no coincidence that those whose jobs were retained and those who weren't had the outcomes that they did. But again, we'll see how it gets covered. We'll see how the issue now gets spun as well. And the coverage of it and any bias that's put on the coverage now due to those two men no longer being representatives. And what kind of political leaning is now put on the issues of gun violence within the state of Tennessee. Representative Pearson, Representative Jones, both are the types of men, young black men that we stand for here on Menstruction. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to be. And that's what I know so many of you truly do believe that you also can become, and that you probably desire to be, to have that kind of impact and that kind of awareness. But you also see how easily those opportunities can be pulled out from under you with people who don't have the same passion, who don't have the same consideration, who don't have the same awareness of why being in those positions for us is so crucial. And also what it takes to get there and who you have to be to get there. Even when you get there, you still got to play by their rules. Even if it's for a cause that's for the greater good, that would be something that every constituent represented by those representatives in that house would agree with. And I don't know if you could hear it in the actual coverage, but there were individuals, I would assume citizens of Tennessee, who were outside the chambers, who were quite ruckus because they knew what they were standing up for, and they knew what they were being represented for, and they were on board. The constituents wanted that. The representatives couldn't care less. They were more concerned about archaic parliamentarian rules. So it's important. It's important to cover these things. It's important to keep having the conversations like we're having right here. We're going to keep having right here on menstruation so that we can push in the right direction. We're chipping away at it. But we can't lose hope. We can't lose faith. We have to build each other up, because I will say one of the most beautiful things about that whole situation was how many beautiful black faces were in that space who also were elected officials, who maybe didn't have the confidence to stand up and do what they did, or maybe they just weren't aware of it, but who were there and who definitely were in solidarity with them because they understood. Man, big ups to, former Tennessee Representative Justin Pearson, as well as former Representative Justin Jones, for, if nothing else, bringing some light, more light, to the continued systemic subjugation of our voices, of our ideals, of our drive to change and improve, not just for us. It's not just a black thing. It's a people thing. It's a citizen thing. It's a next generation of young men and women thing. It's showing that we are capable of having that level of thought, of achieving that level of altruism. We can do that. But even when we get in spaces to disperse that and utilize it effectively, our roots are dug out from under us. We are cut off at the kneecap almost every time. It's too easy to get on any platform, to get in front of any group of people and act an ass and be an ignorant motherfucker. It's too easy to do that. And these are the kinds of people and the kinds of issues, the kind of figures that we, this newest generation of young adults, need to be following, need to be supporting, need to be making social change, social media posts, social movements behind. And we, as a black people, play into that. While we're focused on that, look what's happening in the background. So, I wanted to make sure that that was covered. If you want to find more information, Representative Gloria Johnson, Representative Justin Jones, and Representative Justin Pearson. It should be, if you look up any of their names, it should be probably the first couple of searches that come up. And look at how quickly, especially the two Justins, were elected into office and now have been removed. Consider that. Consider their track records. Consider what issue they were standing up for when this occurred. Consider how that could and does apply to your life. When you try to take a step forward as a black man for the right things. When you do everything in your power to be properly articulate, to be well researched and well read, we can change that. The more of us that are in these positions and that push forward, the less of an impact these kinds of menial dismissals are going to have. This has not been another episode, but rather a stream of Menstruction, the place where we set the structures, ideas, and foundations for the men of tomorrow. I love each and every one of you.